What's up guys, welcome back. Today we're going to go through a step-by-step video on how to paint a Carnosaur start to finish, all the techniques I use, all the different paints I use, so you can paint along with me at home if you like. If you've got any questions or comments about anything in the video, drop in the comment section down below, and without further ado, let's get started. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to establish our base tone, our generic base tone. For this we're going to use Vallejo model colour orange red, but you can use any sort of dark reddish orange that you've got, and we're going to establish this across all of the top scales. Any colour in this video guys that you don't have, it's completely fine. Just use any colour that's similar and you'll get a very similar outcome. It'll be fine. For the next section, we're going to do all of the underside, so underneath the belly, underneath the tail, underneath the legs, all of that in Rakarth flesh. But again, anything you've got that's similar will work fine. Just make sure you get these all the way up to the line where the orange scales meet the underbelly. Don't forget these small sections in between the ropes, they're easily missed. Okay, next we need to dial back that orange, it's a little bit too bright at the moment. So we're going to use an all over shade on all of the scaled section. For this we're using Reichland Flesh Shade. During this section you want all of that shade to drop into the recesses and all the little lines in between the scales, but you don't want it to pool too much on top of the scale, so if it does, just dry your brush off and then use your brush to soak up any pools. For the underside we're going to do exactly the same, shade it all with that Reichland Flesh Shade and getting all them crevices, getting all the recesses. Again, if it's on top of on folds of skin and stuff and it's pooling, dry your brush off, soak that pool up, and make sure the recesses are really detailed. Okay, so this next section is where it gets interesting. This is where we take the model from where it's at and it really improves it dramatically in a short period of time. We can use a technique called dry brushing, which is where you take a little bit of paint on your brush, on a dry brush. I use makeup brushes like these, and they're cheaper and they work fine. And we put a little bit of paint on the brush and then we just rub it on some tissue and take most of the paint off so there's only a little bit left, and then we lightly brush it across the model. For our first dry brush we're going to use our original colour, which was orange red or whatever colour you used, and this is just to bring back that vibrancy whilst also still leaving the darkened recesses, so this will establish that base tone again a little bit more bright. Once we've re-established that base tone, it's time to up the highlight. So for this, I used a Citadel Troll Slayer orange, but again, you can use any paint that's a brighter orange than the one you started with. And we're just going to do a lighter dry brush all over again, this time focusing more on the higher edges. As a general tip, guys, you don't need 1,000,001 paints. You can just mix and match paints as much as you want. So for my next step, I didn't have a brighter orange than the Troll Slayer, so I just took a little bit of Flashkit's yellow and added that into it, and just brightened it up that way. You don't need to buy every paint possible. You can make your own mixes. Again, we're hitting these on all of the raised areas, slightly higher than before. So each step that you get brighter and brighter, you take that highlight a little bit further up so that the tip is getting brighter and brighter as it gets towards the end, if that makes any sense. Adding even more Flashkit's yellow now, so that previously the mix was about, I'd say, 80% Troll Slayer, 20% Flashkits. Now we're more the other way around. It's more 70% Flashkits and 30% Troll Slayer. So we're taking it right up now into that yellow spectrum. For the final highlight colour, we added some Citadel White Scar, which is just a white paint. Any white paint will do. We added this to the paint mix we were already using, which was the Flashkit's yellow and the Troll Slayer orange. Just added some white into it just to brighten it up, but also desaturate it a little bit because the yellow is a bit garish. The next step's fairly easy. You just paint all of the claws with Abaddon black, Citadel paint, or again any black you've got. And then we use a blue to highlight. I normally highlight black with grey. This is just something I was trying this time. I think grey looks better, to be honest. So if you want to highlight them with a grey, you can do that as well. The straps are dead easy. We started off with Citadel contrast paints. We used orange Griffhound first. Once that dried, went over it with another layer of Gorgrunza fur, which is like a browny colour. If anyone's interested in how to make the little Citadel paint pot holder that I'm using in the video, there's a link in the description on how you can make one for yourself. So I lost most of the footage for some reason when I was painting the gold. So I'll show you what I've got, but basically I just Retributor armor over the top, standard, and then wash it with Agrax Earthshade, and then re-highlight again with Retributor, and then a soft highlight with Auric armor, and then you're done. Nice and easy. In order to really darken down some of the recesses in the skin on the underbelly, take some null oil or any black wash and just precisely drop it into all of the tiny recesses, the ones that you want to be darker than the rest. So the real deep ones, just drop a little bit of null oil, but don't let it spill onto any of the skin around the outside. For the mouth, we used Citadel Mephiston Red for the tongue and the insides of the mouth, and for the teeth we used Citadel White Scar, and then we gave it a shade of Agrax Earthshade over the top of the teeth, just to dull them back a little bit. That's it, guys. Just before we do the big reveal, please like and subscribe. That helps me out a lot. Such a small channel, I'm still trying to grow, so please subscribe. If you've got any comments or suggestions, or you just want to flame me, drop them down in the comments below. Video coming soon on how to do the base. I'm going to work on the base, and then another video on how we do the small old blood who sits on the top. So look out for those, and I'll catch you in the next one. Laters.